The essential question today is twofold. How do I classify polynomials, and how do I add and subtract polynomials? A polynomial is an expression in which the sum of the terms are in the form a equals x to the k power, where k is a positive integer. Polynomial. So for example, 6x to the 5th plus 3x to the 4th minus 2x cubed minus x squared plus 17x plus 8. The exponent value of the variable is called the degree. So if we have 6x to the 5th, we say this is a 5th degree for the term. When you write the terms of a polynomial in descending order from the largest degree to the smallest degree, you are writing standard form of the polynomial. So for example, if you start off with 2x minus x squared plus 6, and we rewrite that so that the term with the largest degree, x squared, comes first, then the next largest degree, positive 2x, and finally the constant, we've written the polynomial in standard form. The coefficient of the first term, if the polynomial is written in standard form, is called a leading coefficient. Okay, so if I start off with the 6x to the 5th plus 3x to the 4th, my leading coefficient is the 6. If I start off with 2x minus x squared, first I have to write that in standard form, and then I look at the coefficient, -1, in front of the x squared. The largest degree of the terms in the polynomial is the degree of the polynomial. Okay, we had degree of the term, and there's also degree of the polynomial. So coming back to this 6x to the 5th plus 3x to the 4th, this is a 5th degree polynomial. So let's look at some examples here in terms of classifying. Now 6 is the same as 6x to the 0 power. Remember, x to the 0 power is 1. 1 times 6 is 6. My degree is 0. When we classify by degree, this is a constant. And when we classify by term, constant. Well, let's go by degrees first. Looking at this polynomial, the exponent is 1. So it's a first degree polynomial, and that means it is linear. If we graph it, we're going to get a straight line. With the next one, my exponent is 1. Again, this is linear. The next one, my largest exponent is 2. This is a quadratic. This unit and unit 11 are all about quadratic equations. The next one, my degree is 3. This is a cubic. If you graph a cubic, it looks something like this. Okay, a quadratic is going to look more like a U, and of course a linear is going to look like a line. This next one is a fourth degree, and that's a quartic. If you graph it, it's going to look like a W. Cubics and quartics, you're going to graph those in Algebra 2. This year we're sticking with linears and quadratics. You still need to know the vocabulary, though, for cubic and quartic. Now let's classify by the number of terms. All right, now remember we count terms by breaking polynomials apart at the addition and subtraction sign. There's only one term here, and one-term polynomials are called monomials. This next one is also a one term, so it's a monomial. Mono meaning one as a prefix. Our next example has two terms. That's a binomial. Bi being a prefix meaning two. Our fourth example has 1, 2, 3 terms. That makes it a trinomial. Tri is a prefix that means 3. Our fifth example has 2 terms. So it's a binomial. And our last one here has 1, 2, 3, 4. Once we get to 4, 5, 6, 17 terms, we just call it polynomial. Poly is a prefix that means many. All right, so I want to add polynomials. And there's a couple of ways to do it. The first way is using what's called a vertical format. And when you use the vertical format, you want to line up the like terms. Okay, so I take a look at it and I pick the one that has the most terms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I want this one to start with. And I'm going to write it in standard form. So 5x cubed plus 2x squared minus x plus 7. Now, when I write the next one, I'm going to line up the like terms. So 3x squared has to go under 2x squared. 7 goes under the other constant, and negative 4x belongs under the negative x term. When I write the next one, 4x squared goes in the x squared column. It's positive. Negative 8 goes underneath the constants, and negative x cubed comes out here with the cubes. Add it up. 5 minus 1 is 4x cubed. 2 plus 3 is 5, plus 4 is 9x squared. Negative 1 minus 4 is negative 5x. 7 plus 7 is 14, minus 8 is 6. So our answer, 4x cubed plus 9x squared minus 5x plus 6. All we're doing here is combining like terms. You did combining like terms back in Unit 1, Unit 2. It showed up again in Unit 6, inequalities. So this is an idea that's come back over and over again. Okay. And we're going to use the idea of combining like terms for what we call the horizontal format. We either use color or shapes to group the like terms. Now I'm a big fan of color. So here I go breaking out the highlighters. I've got an x squared and another x squared. I have a positive x and a positive x. And finally, I have a negative 5 and a positive 6. So, 2x squared plus x squared is 3x squared. Done, done. X plus x is 2x. Done, done. Negative 5 plus 6 is positive 1. We're done. Alrighty, what about subtraction? And subtraction can be done both vertically and horizontally. The key to subtraction is to distribute the negative 1 first, and then line up the like terms. So I'm going to do negative 1 times negative 2x, negative 1 times 3x, and negative 1 times negative 4. Now I'm fortunate this first polynomial is written in standard form, so I'm just going to copy it down. Now, let's make sure we do that distributive property. Negative 1 times negative 2x squared is positive 2x squared. And I need to write it underneath the x squareds. Negative 1 times positive 3x is a negative 3x. And negative 1 times negative 4 is a positive 4. I'm ready to just add these together. Negative 2x cubed plus 7x squared minus 4x plus 12. So negative 2x cubed plus 7x squared minus 4x plus 12. With the horizontal format, you still need to make sure you distribute negative 1 first. And then use color or shapes to identify the like terms. All right, so keep the first polynomial. Now, I'm distributing negative 1 times 2x squared is negative 2x squared. Negative 1 times negative x is positive x. Negative 1 times negative 4 is positive 4. At this point, I'm going to box my x squareds. I'm going to put circles around my x's. And I'm going to put triangles around my constants. So 3x squared minus 2x squared is x squared. Negative 5x plus x is negative 4x. 3 plus 4 is 7. All right, so you need 3 questions, 1 for classifying, 1 for adding, 1 for subtracting, and a summary.